Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video, I'm going to talk about what it means to have your moon conjunct with someone's moon in Synastry. So these kind of planet to same planet conjunctions in relationship charts or doing the Synastry are especially exciting, and I feel like not talked about enough. So this one, when we have our emotional self, our instinctual self, our inner feminine self, conjunct with someone else's, this is a very comfortable overlay where we can understand each other without speaking. This is an emotional or intuitive understanding that goes beyond Mercury, which is communication, which we'll talk about Mercury conjunct Mercury. That's also very good. But this is like an aspect of, yeah, emotional telepathy. But interestingly enough, this aspect can be very difficult if you have difficult aspects to your moon. If you have difficult aspects to your moon and you haven't really done a lot of work on figuring out what those are, this can be especially challenging because anyone that you meet where you have moon conjunct moon with them, you're going to be faced with all of your own emotional problems. So it can be more difficult. So you have to look at, the state of your own moon, and that's what's being brought up here. And also the sign and the house placement of your moon, whether you're going to like this or not. Because some people will not prefer this just because of the state of their own moon. Maybe there is a different aspect. It doesn't have to be moon to moon, but maybe there's some other aspect that would feel better where it's not just completely aggravating the moon tension, right? Because you're going to get that too. So this is specifically a soulmate aspect though, because when you think about it, the inner childs or the inner children of the two people are exactly the same. The emotional needs and what the two people need to feel emotionally fulfilled is the same. So this can be very harmonious and very good also. So don't get me wrong. This can definitely be very good. It's definitely a soulmate aspect. It's definitely an aspect of just intuitively understanding someone so well, and not even needing to use words. It's just like, oh, you're like that too, right? Like, of course you are. So yeah, we can really feel like we've met our soulmate with this one, because we are so similar. I mean, out of all the conjunctions, perhaps you're gonna feel the most alike with this person. Now, that's not necessarily a good thing though, because depending on how much self-love you have or self-acceptance that you have, someone who is so much like you at the instinctual level could also be very irritating, like for those reasons that I mentioned too, with the difficult aspects, but also if there's a lack of love for the moon self, right? Then this aspect could also be especially troubling. And because it is a conjunction, it is the most powerful aspect. So you will not be able to escape this emotional energy of this relationship. Like, this is a very emotionally dominated relationship, so it's more difficult in relationships where you have to be more neutral, but it's not necessarily emotionally dominated in a negative way though. That would just depend on what other aspects are going on. But this one is definitely an emotional connection and a feeling of like you've really met your other half, like not necessarily your compatible match. That would depend on other things, but you have met someone whose drives and feelings and like desires of what makes you feel emotionally secure and safe are exactly the same. So there can definitely be a lot of understanding there, and even if the relationship doesn't work out, it can still remain a positive connection because there is so much understanding there. There's so much knowing of what that other person is really about without even speaking. So it's definitely one of those communication without words aspects. It's a very warm, nurturing aspect because the moon in our chart is where we are like kind of mothery, or mothering. So there can be a mutual mothering of each other, a nurturing, a healing of those inner child wounds. Yeah, and that can be very emotional and very intimate and deep. So this can be a beautiful connection. This can be an amazing connection for a long-term relationship where you feel just so seen and so understood by someone, that it really makes you feel safe to open up and be yourself. And that's what will happen here, is that moon self that you both are is like on steroids when you're together, because you both egg each other on. So you could actually be more emotional in general in this relationship, for better or for worse. So that's something to be aware of, that it is bringing out that side of you that is instinctual and reactive, right? And, you know, if you're reacting to each other with all this love and positive energy, then that can be a very good thing. But see, there's two sides of this. Moon aspects in synastry are really good to have, because you want to be able to understand each other emotionally. But just with this one, you are exactly the same emotionally. So that's an experience. That's a soulmate aspect. That is definitely some big lessons too. But it can be very positive and very warm and, yeah, very healing and nurturing to have your moon conjunct with someone's moon. So, yeah, I'd love to know your experience of this aspect. Was it positive and beneficial, or was it just bringing up all that moon stuff for you that's maybe more uncomfortable? And you have to look at everything too in the synastry chart. I think moon conjunct moon can be a beautiful aspect, but it's definitely, yeah, brings out the emotional sides in both people. So yeah, okay. Let me know any other requests you guys have. This was a request, and yeah, we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.